Yeah, so I just wanted to talk today about something I've been thinking about for a bit. Basically, what got me thinking about this was I was just looking at the news, the local town news, and there was a guy like I think 2 years above me, maybe two or 3 years above me, and he had just gotten married. He went to my high school, and he was found dead with an envelope of heroin beside him. And I didn't really know him, but looking at his obituary, I saw people that I did recognize, people I recognized on Facebook. In the school, it's been a long time since I've been in high school, but like even the school halls, things like that. And I'm like, dang, like by a couple degrees, maybe 2 degrees maximum of separation, I knew this guy. And he had just married his wife, and he came from a really good family. He went to a really good school, university, after high school, and he was found dead, 27, with the baggie of heroin beside him. So it got me thinking about, what about people in my life? People in my life who the potential kind of left them, or the demons, kind of came back to them, And I think the title of this video is going to be like Friends Who Peaked. And I think peak is like, it's not the perfect word, but I think it does the job here. And I think the first time I really realized that, holy shit, like a friend, like a childhood friend had peaked was, I'll tell you all the story. So basically, I'll call this kid Al, short for Alpha. I'm not going to say his real name, but his real name is kind of close. It's like a synonym for Alpha. It's just kind of funny. But I'll just call him Al. So Al, basically, I had known him. Okay, so here's the backstory. So basically, I went to a private school for a couple of years during elementary school, because basically, like during my first and second grade, I was just not paying attention, and teachers were like kind of getting sick of it and telling my parents like, yo, you need to put him on medication, on ADHD meds. And I was like just a first and second grade boy. I forget, maybe like 8, that you're like 8 or 9 years old, maybe 7 or 8. I think it's actually like less, like 7 or 8 years old. I'm just being myself, and whether I did or do have ADHD is totally up for debate. Like I don't, that's not what the topic of this video is, but like adults were complaining about it, and my parents were like, dude, we're not medicating a 7 or 8 year old kid. And again, that's a big debate nowadays. Like, do we medicate children? Like, I don't know. I'm not here to say that you do or you don't. Excuse me. I'm just here to say that my parents were against that, and so they sent me to a school where there's like there's like 4. Sorry, I didn't drink enough water before this, I think, but it's whatever. I'm gonna freestyle it. They didn't want to medicate like a 4 or 5, 8 or 9 year old. So they send me to this private school where there's like, like 4 kids in a grade. Like literally like 4th grade, I had like 4 kids, including me. That's it. 2 girls, 2 guys, including me. And there was this kid above me, Al. Yeah, he was a grade above me. He was in 5th grade. 5th grade had a kind of larger class, like maybe 10 kids in that class. And Al was bullied. Like you could tell he was bullied. He was a little bit chubby. He was fat back then. And I guess to be blunt, even now he is. But he was a little bit chubbier back then. And he was bullied, and so he ended up hanging out with us 4th graders. And so me and my friend, we would hang out with him. It was a good time. Like, we had a lot of play dates. I would go over to, we used to call them play dates back then, hangouts, whatever. Like I would go over to his place, and we would, just hang out. I got to know his parents, as decently well as like a 9-year-old would, or, he got to know my parents. He would come over to my place. We would cook for him. If I came over to his place, he would offer me snacks. We would play hella video games. Sorry, this is my finger's cracking. Anyways, we would play video games. It was a really good time. You could kind of tell there was some stuff going on in the background back then. I remember every time for probably a year or two when we would hang out back then. Or just to finish up the story. So from 3rd through 5th grade, I went to that private school. I ended up not having enough money to continue my education there, so we moved back to the public school system. Ironically, that private school closed down due to lack of funds. So my friends, Al also went back, and all my friends went back to like different public school systems, or they found other private schools, and it was cool. But we stayed in touch, Al and I. And I remember for a good 2-year period, Al was actually talking about moving out of his house. His dad was actually building a new house. But I remember every time we would hang out, my dad would drop me off and he'd pick me back up. He'd be like, dang, the house is still not done? And I kind of realized, like looking back, I now realize that their funds were tight. The money was tight in the family. That's why it took them 2 or 3, or many years, basically, to build a house that probably should have been done in a year or two. It took them way longer. So it probably wasn't. It was probably like 2 or 3 or 4 years. So it was interesting. But anyways, money was tight. They definitely did have family issues. Back then, I could kind of realize that there was a lot of yelling, and I felt like you don't pick up on these things when you're a kid. But there's a sense of deep discomfort you feel when your friend is like yelling at his parents are yelling at him, and this is happening in front of you. Like, that's wrong. I was yelled at by my parents too, but it was never really in front of other people. So when that happened in front of me, I knew like there's something deeper. Like there's like a lack of shame here that's going on. That's like, it's not really, it's not really appropriate. It's not really normal. There's a level of transparency here that's a little too much, basically. Anyways, we ended up stopping hanging out. The last thing I ever heard from him was like, he one time asked me for my Minecraft password and username. I stupidly gave it to him, and then one day I lost access to my account. I asked him what was up, and he didn't give me a straight answer. So I just lost my Minecraft account. So that was weird. But a couple years later, and a couple of years ago, he reaches out to me on Steam. It's a gaming platform, which I'm sure you guys know. And it's like there's a totally like interesting like profile picture. It's of this bird with hair. I thought it was from a video game, but he's reached out like, "Hey, you're back online. Like, how are you?" And I'm like, "Oh shoot, I'm good, bro. How are you?" And we start talking a little bit. And I can tell like life has been slow for him. Like I had graduated college, I think, or I was like almost graduating, and I was asking him what was up, and he's like, trying to find work and stuff. So I think life was a little bit slow for him. I don't even know if he went to college, to be honest. He might not have. I don't know. I forget, But yeah, he's like, "Yo, we should hang out sometime." I end up grabbing his number, and we end up planning a hangout. So later on, like basically last year we hung out. I was driving over to his place, and he lives in a rural part of the state I'm in. And it's cool, it's beautiful. I drive up, and it's a beautiful house, and I'm like, okay, holy cow, the house is finally built. Like, this is awesome, So I come in, and like I told you guys, like we're not just friends, we're family friends too. And I come in, like I knock on the door. He comes in. I know it's just him, but it's like the middle. It's like, I think it's a weekend, so you could kind of expect both parents to be there, but they're not, or at least one of them isn't. The dad's out, but the mom is there because my friend Al, he shouts out like, "Hey mom, like happy hours home." And the mom was like, "Okay, like, hey, welcome home." Like through a bedroom, she yells out like, "Hey, welcome home," or "Welcome back." But she doesn't come out to see me, which is super strange, I thought. And then I remember Al asking me, like texting me before, like, "Do you have dietary restrictions and stuff?" And there was no, he didn't give out any food. That's totally okay. This is not me trying to be entitled. It was more just like, dang, like the mom didn't come out to see a childhood friend, like maybe see how much I've grown. Like, a mom would love to see like, "Yo, how much has he grown?" Like all this stuff, but none of that happened. That was strange. And Al sits me down, we're just playing video games and stuff, we're catching up. He doesn't really ask me many questions, but that's okay. Like, I'm asking him questions. I'm just generally getting to know him again after so long. I remember one of the last conversations we had was he was in 8th grade, and he had just gotten his first girlfriend. So I hadn't spoken to him since he was in 8th grade. And he went really fast with this girl. I remember him talking to me about his first kiss, buying her a ring and stuff. It was crazy, but the first kiss stuff was also interesting because like he was like my first friend who got his first kiss. I was like, I kind of looked up to him. I'm like, dude, this guy, he's like a Chad, he's literally like an alpha, you know what I mean? So I thought he was cool shit. And just for shits and giggles, I asked him like, "Yo, remember that 8th grade girlfriend? Like, how's that going?" And he's literally like, "Oh yeah, we broke up last year." I'm like, "Wait, what? Like, y'all lasted that long?" Like, that was crazy to me. So they had lasted like years. And then apparently she was like, "Yo, I don't want something serious," which is a totally ridiculous excuse. But yeah, so he updates me on that. He says his mom is napping, but I mean, for a couple of hours during the middle of the day, it was kind of weird. And she would respond, like he would yell at her like through the through the door, like through the living room, and she would respond. So maybe she was semi-conscious, but she said never saw me when I came in. She never saw me out. Again, no hate. This is just like, it was strange. I almost felt like she was embarrassed. I had this feeling like maybe she was embarrassed, honestly. I remember her being a very self-conscious woman. Like maybe she was just embarrassed to see me, honestly. I don't know. But yeah, basically what ends up happening is like, so we play video games. Al tells me about like these different diagnoses he's got. He tells me he got laid off of GameStop, his GameStop job. I don't even know how that happens. But he tells me about all these like disorders he's been diagnosed with and like how, and I'm just like, dang, like life really went downhill. Like, going back to the Steam profile picture, man, he tells me about like how he's now, I'm like, what is that profile picture? Like, what game is that from, you know? And he's like, no, I'm a furry. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, that's my persona. I'm like, dang, what? That's your persona? You're a furry? Like, this is crazy. There's so many. He's talking to me about like bipolar, like ASD, all these different spectrum disorders, and now he's a furry. Like, it's so different. It's like he's so different from how we were growing up, but at the same time, it's like, it's almost predictable. It's like almost like, oh, like, I could have guessed. It was strange. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to ramble too much, but basically that made me realize. Like, I remember coming back home and telling some of my hometown friends who had never known Al, but I just told them like, dude, the past really caught up to people. Like, he was bullied relentlessly, and I was one of his only friends, and he played video games a ton. Like, I would see him on Steam every day during school and even while I was in college, and when he should have been working, basically when I was working. It was crazy. Like, he had it, in some sense he had it all. He told me that his dad's photography business ended up popping off. That's how he was able to finally finish and afford the house. But still, like, just, if things aren't good at home, you know, it's just things you realize, things you don't realize when you're young, but you notice them, and then, you know, these dots connect, like, yo, I've been diagnosed with this and that, oh, I've been out of a job, oh, like, this and that happened in my life, and you start to realize, like, dang, like, the seeds were in childhood, like, I saw those seeds being planted, like, I could tell, like, this could be the outcome. Like, it's fucked up. It's really fucked up. And just the last story I have is, you know, there's actually a guy in my friend group I've been thinking about a lot, and he had it all. Surface levels, complete surface level, but he had it all. He's actually a guy I'm jealous of. He was with the girl of my dreams back in high school, like the girl that I was in love with. He was in theater. He was in the improv club, which means he was actually funny. Like, people like really thought he was funny, and being funny in high school, like, that's a big deal. Like, if you can make people laugh, like, and he was smart. He was a year ahead of all of us in math. He was taking all the AP classes. And then he gets to college and he decides to be a music major. And he was also musically talented too. And he decides to switch his, like, quote unquote real degree for a music degree, which is totally fine if you have a plan for that. And basically he's the guy now that wakes up at 2 p.m., wakes up at 3 p.m., does like some gig work, maybe gig work as in, you know, relating to musical theater. He doesn't have any other job. He eats like maybe a meal or two a day and then goes back to sleep, you know, and he talks about wanting to go to Broadway. He jokes about being on a quote unquote dry spell, if you know what I'm saying, for the past 2 years. When again in high school, he was with the girl of a lot of guys' dreams, to be honest. It's crazy. It's crazy. And he had a messed up home life. Like, I didn't know it, but I'm friends with his ex. I was friends with his ex, and he ended up telling me about that stuff. But yeah, sorry, I meant she ended up telling me about that stuff. But yeah, just I think that's basically all I wanted to say. Like, I think the past caught up to him. You know, he's still at his parents' house, no matter what they did to each other or did to him. You know, I don't know the full details, but he's still living with them. He seems content. I think a lot of people would not be content with his life, but he seems okay. I don't know. I mean, checking on your homies and all that. But I think it just goes to show, like, people can have it all, whether it's in elementary school, high school, middle school. But what's going on at home, you'll never know. You will never know. He could be married, right? Like the guy I was telling you all about in the beginning of the story. Demons will catch up to people. And it's completely out of our control. As a bystander, as a witness, as an observer, as a friend, you know? But I guess all I can do is just, like, kind of lament, regret that happened to someone, show remorse, or I don't know. I think lament is the best word, but yeah, that's basically it. I felt really jealous about that last guy, that friend of my friend group, to be honest. Like, he had it all. I had nothing in high school. You know, I've told you guys little bits and pieces about my high school. I really didn't have much socially going for me, and he had it all, and he blew it. And we're all going to peak. You know what the worst thing is? We're all going to peak in life. But I think the later we peak, the more prolonged our journey up that hill is, the better. And people who peak early, it's natural to peak. But if you peak early, it's a long rest of your life to be going downhill for. That's all I can say. But hey, take care. Good luck, everyone, with everything, whatever you're going through, you know. Post some comments if you'd like me to go over some topics or answer y'all's questions. I'm happy to. Yeah, take care.